Do this in two parts. The first part is a little bit of a speech from me, and then the second part is a bit of a song from Gail with a bit of a band. So we're here to celebrate Therese Ritchie's work tonight. It's a hell of a task. It's a hell of a body of work, and I'm more than a little bit nervous because she's scary in the best possible way. But in truth, we're actually here to celebrate her, because it's hard to separate her work from her life. They are so integrated. So you just have to look around here to see how many people have come from intrastate and interstate to celebrate Therese Ritchie herself, artist, activist, big-hearted lioness. It'd take years to do Therese any justice. I was given 2 minutes. I am going to go over time. So in preparing for tonight, I started out doing a lot of research. I read, her whole CV and bio, which took me about 2 days. I read interviews, and I started to piece something together, but it felt wrong. It felt dry. It felt stale. It just didn't fit who she was. So with some advice from my beautiful friend Gail Evans, I sort of sent messages out to a heap of people and said, what do you think of Therese? What have you got to say about her? And the response was overwhelming, I have to say. What came forward was phenomenal. You know, her courage as an artist, her bolshiness, her passion, her talent, her commitment, her ethics, her constant strive for social justice, and her fierce moral framework. There were so many respondents, I can't fit them all in, and I apologise for that to those who sent stuff in, and this is the edited version. So many people mentioned Therese's courage. So a quote from, this is anonymous actually, which is quite beautiful. When others become silent from despair and disbelief and tune out from the inhumanity and corruption of politics and politicians, Therese tunes in even deeper. She opens her mouth even wider and shouts even louder. It really does sum her up. From Stephen Carlton in Brisbane, who is a huge admirer of Therese's. Therese's gaze is unflinching. She holds a mirror up to us, and what we see reflected back is always uncomfortable. And from Susan Cox, Therese is courageous and will run into trouble rather than the other way. It's kind of beautiful. Therese's ethical and moral frameworks have always stood her out. She's the perfect balance of heart, and massive mind. And that's really hard in the arts, to balance those two and get that right. She feels intensely, but more importantly, she puts that feeling and that thought into articulate action. Alistair Wyville said, with high-quality independent journalism under threat on so many fronts, art as a medium for expressing political criticism has become all the more important. Therese Ritchie, we need you now more than ever. And Nikki and Lisa say that creating from a palette that includes the ugly and the beautiful, Therese's work speaks the truth that comes from the gut and the heart. Oh, sorry, that's Tim Newth. Woo, sorry, Tim. I didn't put a space between that yet. Yeah. And Nikki and Lisa, she's deeply. This is utterly beautiful, and it reflects on what was said before. Therese is deeply respectful to her subjects. She is never a voyeur, although her work is observational, which is a really hard line to walk, I think. And lovely Dave McMicken, she uses her artistic endeavours to truly disrupt our thinking and lets us see our world as a place where there is an infinite capacity to do better, to be kinder, to care for each other and country more. And then there are those people who just plain love her because she is infinitely lovable. She's probably cringing. Are you cringing? A little bit. No. Take the love. Frank Goya says, there are two broad groups in this arts community. Those that ask, what can the arts do for me? And those that ask, what can I do for the arts? Therese Ritchie is firmly planted in the second group. And Ursula Raymond. If you've got children here, please plug their ears. There might be a C word coming up. I met Therese circa 1982. My lingering memories from an anti-apartheid rally Therese was documenting it with her trusty camera. Good mates ever since. I love her action, her love of nouns like cunt and prick. She a good cudgery, that one. And her husband that wasn't, Chips McAnulty. At various stages of our 3 decades of working with each other, some have assumed we were a married couple, apart from the obvious lack of consummation. Got Chips's word for that. It's been a marriage made in heaven. And the final words from her fans are from Susan Cox. Difficult to summarise. Iconoclastic. Irreverent. Is that surprising? Quick to fire. Pushes the boundaries. Dog whisperer. Average cook. Loyal friend. Dresses for comfort, not for style. Ooh. May have Tourette's. But most importantly, each day she is an artist. And I actually want to conclude with a quote from Therese directly, which is via the lovely Tamara Howie. She did a beautiful interview in Off the Leash. And this is what Therese had to say in the article. And this, for me, sums up her strength, her resilience and her generosity to the local and national arts communities. She says, practicing art is not for sissies. It's a hard road. It's a big commitment. It means putting practice before economics. It's following your instincts and intuition even when you don't know what the fuck it means or where it's going or why you're doing it or if it's going to make you any money. But you got to play the long game and keep working. Even if people say they hate your work or they love your work, just keep working. The beautiful Therese Ritchie. And now we've got a little song that was written by the inimitable Gail Evans, and it has a little dancing crew.